Hello everyone and welcome back to Two Bros Game Night. I am your host, Older Bro.
I'm your other host, Younger Bro.
And today we continue in National Park Girls, where Jessie is really trying to get rid of these people so that she can fall asleep.
Can you please,
So,
leave?
do you need me to pull out anything specific, or would you rather sift through the whole library?
Yeah, I need your file and your boobage.
Again, Yosemite grabs the conversation by the neck before I can even respond.
We'll dig through the whole library. It could mean we're here for a while.
It puts Lilith in quotes!
Yes, yeah, did you not
That's
know
fine.
No.
Just make sure to sign in. I don't know who looks at the sheet, but I'm sure it's important to someone somewhere.
She pushes forward a clipboard with a pen chained to it. I snag it before Yosemite can and log the time. The name I just put, Eve, Adams and Company. Yosemite takes it after I'm done, and then writes down the name of her new persona in the column below. She sticks her nose in the air, but we both know the victory is mine.
Just around this corner, then?
You make it sound simple, but yeah. Let me know if you need anything, girls. Good luck!
The cheerful tone ringing in Jessie's voice gives me every reason to be concerned. Too ominous, too knowing. She shoots us away with a wave and slides the next form off the leaning tower of bureaucracy. The instant we turn the corner, it's horrifyingly apparent why she wished us good luck.
Christ, it's worse than I remember. I assumed this would be a daunting task, but this is unwieldy.
The library is stacked to the ceiling with cardboard boxes. Overstuffed folders spill from shelves. It's like if Yosemite took her research and sprinkled it across the cabin. How could anyone ever let it get like this? Hey, Yosemite, you know what you could do? If you volunteered here, you could sort all this. And also read it all.
Volunteers tribute.
I take 3 hesitant steps into the eye of the storm. My shoulder brushes against a pile of boxes. The top box teeters over and crashes to the floor, binders and folders of paper scattering across the floor. I sigh and say a prayer for the mercy of death.
Where do we even start? Well, Eve.
Yosemite bends over and starts gathering up the mess I've made. Not that it's any more recognizable than the bigger mess we're already standing in.
I suppose you'll just have to start on the left, and I'll just have to start on the right.
Wait, but how am I helping you with this? I don't know what you're looking for.
Why is she
Then
helping?
we'll meet in the center. Oh, Eve, don't be so difficult.
Oh,
For
Eve,
my
you're
sake,
so
you can
smart,
drag
yet
yourself
so
further to
naive.
the right.
And end of chapter.
And now we switch to Yosemite. Multiple hours have passed since we entered the library.
Multiple.
Whenever I look at the clock, I'm surprised how late it's gotten. There's no windows in the room, so it's impossible to gauge the time. When we entered, the golden sheen of afternoon was still beating down, but if we left now, I'm sure we'd be greeted by the blue tent of twilight. Not that I want to leave. Despite being at first intimidated by the lack of cohesion here, I've grown to enjoy being in this space. Not because it's especially beautiful or comfortable. After all, it's just an unambitious, sterile building surrounded by far more interesting wilderness.
It's your safe space.
I enjoy it because I'm surrounded by heaps and mountains of information. With so much knowledge of places and people at my disposal, this space has become a watchtower of sorts for me. Only several minutes ago, I finished flipping through a decade-old study of mule deer within the park. When I closed my eyes and watched my breath, the emotions I was feeling would bloom into images. And I would see a mule deer. It would be cautiously glancing around, just within view of the astonishing height of Britaville Fall. When it was sure it was safe, it would graze and peace would watch over it. The bliss of a clean consciousness uncorrupted by ego. Then I would feel it too, as if I were that deer. It was obvious to me that deer was existing somewhere in this park. Even now it still does. It was as clear to understanding as having an arm. It was as clear to understanding what? And as easy to believe as you being capable of moving it. You know what? I don't like that sentence. That's why this place is a watchtower. It's the same reason why I feel so at home in the cabin, I suppose. Information is documented evidence of existence, and when circled by it, I can experience it all.
How you doing over there?
Up yours.
Okay, so the text box always matches the person that was doing it. So
yes.
I still don't know if we were Zion or Yosemite in that last
We
chapter.
were both.
Eve calls out to me. Oh, again, you're calling her Eve again. We both picked out our own cramped tables to station ourselves at. Her at one stack of pamphlets and books, and me at another.
Stimulated. Nothing has triggered anything quite like that vision yet. But I'm learning tidbits about myself. The park that I didn't know. Also, a lot of this is validating info I already knew, which is invaluable to me, I assure you.
She scoffs and rolls her eyes, which I love. Oh, now you love it. It's the whole reason I play up my snobbery. Her reactions, they fuel me. But also, they reveal so many important things about her. Her fire and her willingness to fight, even if she denies it. The ranger is my friend. I admit that happily.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so if she asked, you'd say it happily. Her offering to help and to take me here so I can learn about the things that plague me most is proof of our friendship. It doesn't matter to me if she feels the same, opposite, or any other way. Whatever's apparent is usually fact.
What are you up to over there? Staying protective, I hope?
Depends on your definition. It's probably nothing that would help you, if that's what you're wondering.
I've just been sitting here drinking beer, talking God, amen.
I reach my hand out and wait for her to pass off the folder. She groans, and with all her willpower and strength, rises out of the folding chair. She's my friend, but she still has a natural tendency towards laziness.
I was just starting to get comfortable, too.
Your noble sacrifice is noted.
Instead of handing me the folder, she swats away everything on the table that I was reading and flops it down in front of me.
So, what am I looking at here?
Words. They're a series of structured letters arranged in such a way to communicate information.
I take the folder and try smacking her face with it. She grabs my wrist and pins it down to the table.
Next time.
Uh-huh.
Next time.
It's a collection of personal journals from folks who were in the Mariposa Battalion.
Brushing up on your Gold Rush history, are we?
Not really. I was giving a tour of the Awanichi village to some 4th graders earlier today, so it's been on my mind. I was gonna get into the real nitty-gritty of it all when their teacher got in the way. Don't think the parents were too happy with me.
Can't have little ears hearing inconvenient truths.
It was convenient for them in the long run. Convenient for Governor McDougal to give the go-ahead. Convenient for James Savage to lead. Convenient to manifest destiny and benefit from it.
Probably not so convenient for the Awanichi.
Probably not.
There's a stiff silence that follows, and for good reason. These are difficult things to contemplate. Time really isn't that big of a barrier between the past and the present. Yeah, but generally we don't think about the historical ramifications of Carthage being destroyed by the Romans. So, it's a pretty fucking big barrier. Old scars may as well be fresh wounds when gone untreated. And much like how I can feel the presence of that mule deer, I can feel those scars. They wrap around me, all of me, as integral to this environment and space as the mountains and trees, unescapable. Again, that might just be a you thing, since you are physically the park. My memories may fade, but sorrow's imprints will always remain. To carry the burden of lingering horror and melancholy is my duty as Yosemite, I fear.
It's hard to find motivation to work here for a lot of reasons. But knowing what people are capable of and why this place is even a park to begin with, that might be the hardest.
Eve doesn't face me when saying these things. Her chin's down, as her eyes. Easier to internalize the results of history rather than to confront her face to face.
Your action is more valuable than your guilt. Do your part by doing something. You've already had this epiphany. Now apply it elsewhere.
But I don't want to.
My words come out pointed and harsh, as intended. She's too much like me, getting so caught up in the web of her thoughts that nothing productive comes of it. That's why her and I need one another, so the other can cut through it.
As for the evils people do...
I flash her a smile. It's a forced one, and I'm not sure I'm particularly good at it, but levity is sometimes important for emphasizing points.
They're capable of much greater goods.
Eve smirks. My smile no longer feels forced. And then her smirk twists into a smug distortion. She's a wretched little thing.
Interesting to hear you, of all people, say that. The night we met, you couldn't stop talking about how people suck the big one.
It's not a rolling chair, but I force myself
But it is a
to turn
rolling
in it
stone.
anyways. To let her see my reaction would be to admit that any of her turnabouts and comebacks actually have an effect on me. We can't have that. There are appearances to keep up. Appearances.
Perhaps this will surprise you, but even I am capable of having my mind changed.
Hey,
She doesn't say anything else, and I don't think she will until I acknowledge that she has something more to say. To end the game of chicken, I glance over my shoulder. Only casually, though.
it happens to the best of us.
To the best of us?
Nani?
I spin back around, a hair away from asking her to follow up on that. She only nods. I chuckle. Such a lie, but I don't mind the two of us deluding ourselves together.
We're hardly the best.
Around.
Of course we are. Of the worst.
Silence that follows isn't stiff this time. It's comfortable and lovely, like the mornings we share together. I do enjoy a good stimulating debate, but moments where nothing needs to be said are precious.
Speaking with your eyes, girls.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
However, all precious things must come to an end, and this ending is brought to us by none other than Eve's supervisor herself, Jessie, I believe.
Just ignore her, Lilith. She'll eventually go away.
Oh, shit.
Jessie clutches her chest in agony.
Please. That would really hurt. All I want to do is tease and love on you. Is that so bad?
Yes.
I'd say it's a good way to knock her down to size. Maybe she's short enough as it is.
So for Eve, she's in quotes Lilith, but for her, she's Dr. Lilith, PhD.
Is that your screwed up way of defending me?
No, it was an insult.
Me and you could have this exact same dynamic if you only let it happen, Eve.
Trust me, what me and you have is better than this.
No one stops Jessie's tampering in one swift flow, reducing her to a stuttering, borderline blubbering state.
Oh. Well, thank you.
No, don't thank her.
Maybe I am making an impact.
You wish.
She doesn't realize this was all just a way for Eve to get a dig at me, but the compliment seems to make her happy enough, what with her restrained wiggling. Regardless, I do believe that Eve loves this woman quite a bit. I'd go as far as to say the appreciation may run so deep she would actually admit to it if pressed. Yeah, she basically is actually her mother.
Anyway, girls, just wanted to let you know that this place is technically going to close soon. But since Eve is staff, I don't see a problem with you staying. As long as you remember to lock up afterwards.
Now it makes
sure
sense
to lock the door.
Yeah, now it makes sense as to why Eve is so fond of her. Jessie is wonderful.
Don't just stand there, Eve. Thank the kind lady.
Thanks, kind lady.
Welcome, Latin girl.
I don't think I've ever
That's
you
good.
rotted girl.
They both lean in for a side hug. As they do, Jessie decides it's time to take a peek over my shoulder.
So, what was it that you two were looking into again?
Someone has nosy tendencies.
Well, I thought, what was that about
Hey,
nice girl?
Cut it out. Only I can give her crap for that.
But it's so obviously true.
No wonder Eve is so careful when it comes to us. It's not far-fetched to imagine a scenario where Jessie gets just a tad too curious for her own good and founds out and finds out about me or Yellowstone and Zion.
Sorry,
We have to
she's
found
right.
out about
It's a
them.
bad habit of mine. I just thought maybe I could help you find what you're looking for. Whatever that happens to be.
Here's the problem. I don't know what I'm looking for.
Eve's eyes worm their way over in my direction. I reply in turn, shooting her a dirty look. She does the same, and it's filthier. Fine, as much as I would love to stay here for all eternity, and perhaps then some help would come in handy. No guarantee she'll have any idea what I'm talking about, though. To be frank, it's difficult to talk about, not without thinking about that vision. The intensity of its absolute reality. After all, the only reason I was able to explain any of it to the ranger was because it was her. What if she insists on letting Jessie in on some of the happenings? I suppose I can bite the metaphorical bullet just this once.
You've been standing there for the past 10 minutes. What are you thinking?
It should be easy enough to
Say
dance around
something.
any information she doesn't absolutely need to know. I sigh and give in.
She still hasn't said anything.
Nope.
How long have they been standing
Probably
there
about
waiting?
15 seconds. But Jessie looks wounded by my lack of enthusiasm, but my hesitation has nothing to do with her. I'm just a private person, creature, thing, national park.
Over the course of my research, I briefly stumbled upon some pictures. They were of a cave somewhere in this park. I believe they're valuable to some of the information I'm presenting in my article. Unfortunately, neither me nor Eve have been able to identify the caves.
Do you have the pictures with you? You could try to match them with the photos you come across here.
Already poking holes in my flimsy story. Does she do this naturally? Is she just an inquisitive soul? Goodness.
Like I said, I only saw them for a brief moment. You could say they flashed by. And I have no way of referring back to them.
How?
Ever.
Eve is shooting me annoyed looks. And if we could communicate via telepathy, I'm sure she'd be giving me an earful over how crappy my line skills are. As if she could do better.
There are lots of caves in this park. Some of the systems go on for miles. It makes sense that you're having such a hard time narrowing it down.
Jessie leaves the proximity. At first I think she's ending the conversation without exchanging any of the usual pointless pleasantries. Which more people should do, really. But then stops at a bookshelf.
But if you can't find any info on it, there's probably a pretty dang good reason.
She slides out a beige folder covered in dust. With a sharp blow of her breath, all of it goes flying like particles of time drifting to the ground.
So, unless I'm finally going batty, what you're looking for is probably closer than you think.
Opening the folder, she takes out a thick piece of paper and begins the process of unfolding it. When she's done, it's bigger and taller than all three of our heads put together.
Is that a map of the park?
That's right, and an old one too.
Very old.
I must witness.
I must witness.
I must witness.
I make grabby motions at it. Jessie ignores my plea and spreads it out on the table.
So excitable. But be careful, I'm not sure how many of these we have archived.
Handling old things is my specialty.
Maybe you should try specializing in patience next.
Holy
And
shit.
maybe you should try not being an empty, miserable shell.
Fuck.
Well, maybe you should.
Ladies! Really?
Yes.
She brings out the worst in me.
You do that yourself.
Yeah, that's fair.
I take back what I said. Maybe I don't want what you two have.
Closeness?
The map?
The map.
Right.
Thank you.
Every so often, management will decide to stop promoting certain areas of the park. Usually because of safety or environmental concerns. This will typically involve removing trail markers and taking it off the maps we hand out.
Yeah, so the map you
Oh.
have today is
It's-
not the same as the map that they had 20 years ago.
Exactly.
Do you think that might be the case for the place we're looking for?
Maybe.
There's a good chance.
I lean out my chair and hover over the table. The map is faded in places, with torn and dog-eared corners, but it's still legible. Nearly all the locations are places I recognize, as I should, except for one. I point at it.
Indian caves. What is this?
Good eye, Lilith. That's what I was about to show you.
What? How come I've never heard of it?
This park has been here longer than the 5 years you worked at it, honey.
Can confirm, I'm proof of it.
This place used to be marked like any other area of the park. It was popular too, being so close to Lake Mirror and all. The caves were easy to explore and walk through, so it was great for kids.
Da, 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 da.
But
I hate giving your cynical side more ammo, but it's probably what you're thinking. People kept leaving their trash and camping gear there.
it was too much of a hassle for anyone to bother cleaning it up, right?
Right.
Yep.
Jessie's tone is bleak, as if she regretted bringing this part up the moment it left her mouth. She must be more invested in changing Eve's perspective than I could have guessed. Not that I disagree with the goal, but no meaningful change will happen if you deny her the truth.
It breaks off from a trail and is pretty out of the way. You know how difficult resource management is here, so you can't really blame them.
Oh, I can, and I will.
And I have.
Eve leans over the table and obscures the map or observes the map with me.
Lake Mirror isn't too far from here. What do you think?
That we should pay it a visit.
Now?
You don't have anywhere better to be.
I'm only letting you have that one because it's true.
Excuse me, you can't go now. It'll be pitch dark.
It's your day off, right?
Technically.
We're good. I don't have to listen to her.
Just ignore me after I helped you?
Eve folds the map. That's so good. Just technically, she's not my boss today, so.
Oh shit!
It's so fucked up, and it only works because Jessie is great. It's only after it's in her back pocket does she ask the relevant question.
Hey, Jesse, you don't mind if we borrow this, do you?
Only able to squeak out a series of helpless stutters, Jessie soothes her head. Looks like Eve inspires migraines in more beings in the world than just me.
Fine. Just make sure to bring it back. There's supposed to be more red tape involved in this, but
Eve stops her mid-panic with a hug.
Thanks. I'll never let anything bad
I thought
happen
she was
under your
going to hit
watch
her on the
again.
head with the map.
I promise.
Jessie's face goes blank, then her lip quivers.
You can't just say stuff like that and not expect me to.
Cry?
She fights back a little sniffle. She's still crying during the night.
Just leave, okay? Get out of here, get!
Get!
If only Jessie knew how wrong she is. She has a healthier relationship with Eve than I probably could ever hope for. After all, they're both human. I'm not.
Come on, let's go.
Eve breaks out of the hug and starts to the door.
Hold on! You can't just tell me what to do!
Just did.
Then,
now hurry up.
Then stay,
Lake
I
Mirror
don't
isn't
care.
that far, so it should only be a 10-minute drive.
Why is the dog here?
Oh.
Why
is the dog
Why is
there?
the dog here? I scramble out of the chair and catch up to her. We're almost out of the door when Jessie calls out.
And Eve, please don't blame the people who visit this park for what's wrong with it.
Okay, then pay for better disposal systems.
Coming around to people, actually. It's the lazy institutions they build I have a problem with.
There's a short pause from Jessie as we exit the library. Her voice fades out
Yeah,
as the door
why-
closes.
why-
I'll
is the
take
fucking
that
dog
as a
there?
win!
I don't know, I think she's calling you lazy, so I don't
Yeah,
think that's a good
yeah,
win.
it's just both of them.
Not to invalidate your feelings, because I know they're very important. But what part of life, maybe being a dream, makes you anxious? Green 5.
They're still playing
Carly,
you
what
now.
part about it doesn't scare me? If it's true, then there's just lots of little details that pile up. Green 9.
Like what?
High five?
I need to draw. 1, 2, 3.
Wait, do they draw
Four.
until they can play a card? What rules of Uno are you playing?
Queensberry.
I need to write down these alternate Uno rules, because apparently in this game the game ends when you play Uno, or when you get Uno,
But also,
and you have to draw until you can play another card.
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's an interesting rule set.
Aha! Yellow 9!
Well, it's like, does that mean everyone else is dreaming too? Or are we just some other fella's dream? Oh, or maybe it's all my dream. All those things are freaky in different ways. Draw 4.
Uh-oh.
So evil! Fine. 4 cards. Blue 3. What makes each of those scary to you? If you don't mind me asking.
Good gravy. You don't gotta be all polite and cred when I'm spilling my guts to ya.
I'm
Also-
already spilling.
Also, she doesn't assign the color. She plays draw 4, but she just immediately plays whatever card she wants.
Color.
So,
Like, what?
so you have to draw 4, but you get to choose the color.
What the fuck?
But if I were to try to articulate it, if it's the first one, then who are we and why are we dreaming? If it's
Stop
the second
thinking
thing,
like
then
Kyle.
why the heck am I having dreams inside of dreams? And why do I feel so gosh darn real? Oh, looks like I gotta draw. 1, 2, green 3.
What about the third one?
That one's the freakiest! Because if I'm the one dreaming, that means nobody else is real. And I'm all by my lonesome.
I mean, just because you're dreaming doesn't mean these people aren't real. You could be dreaming about real people in the real world.
The more you know.
You're not alone. I promise that I'm real. I'm conscious. And I'm really consciously loving you.
Aww.
I wanna believe ya. But what if the dream is just telling me to dream you saying that?
Oh, I can see how that could be scary. Still, I hope you can believe me. One day.
One more day.
Wild card!
No.
No greens or 3s, huh?
No. What makes the first reason scary?
Well, it definitely ain't this blue 2 I'm about to throw down.
Yeah, so you don't set the color of wild. You just play the wild to say freebie.
But I guess it's because if we're all dreaming, then that means we can't be who we are right now. We could be anything. Like little green men in a simulation.
Ooh. Or maybe we're all just the same being living over and over and over. And this doesn't end until every piece of organic existence has been experienced?
That sucks.
We organic?
I have leaves. And a yellow too.
Let me draw. What you're yakking about is pretty much what I said about all of us being some other fella's dream.
Well, isn't that close to what Yosemite believes?
You mean that complicated universal consciousness jibber-jabber that I always zone out during?
Yeah, seriously.
Yosemite's theory is that we exist because humans are aware national parks exist, and that their awareness becomes matter. Culture and misconceptions and all.
Yeah, but that also implies that there's a consciousness for every single object people physically knows exists. Like,
Yeah.
where's the national monument girl for the the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial? Like, this concept gets really fucked up the more you think about it.
She has a big top
Guess
hat.
that explains my noggin.
What is it?
Red 2! And also, if humans made us, then who made humans?
Oh, good. Here we go again.
You see the discard pile? Maybe it's like that.
We're discardable.
Cards.
Cards?
All the way down.
Cards all the... Wait, you
What?
couldn't figure out a way to say turtles?
All the way down?
Cards all the way down.
What?
The cards stop at the table, Zion.
Cards.
I have negative knowledge of what just happened there. And that's even with me understanding the turtles all the way down reference.
How about you slow down?
Eve snorts out deep, heavy breaths as she drags her feet behind me. Perhaps I'm going at a faster pace than usual, but it's her fault for not being able to keep up with me. Meanwhile, I'm doing the important work of guiding us in the proper direction. The map isn't too difficult to follow, but finding this trail was a task, to put it lightly. We had to park at a hotel, stumble around until we found a bike path, and then finally we found the proper path, only after missing it 3 times. Well, I mean, that does tend to happen when things aren't properly, marked, because they don't want you to come here. Okay, guys, I think that's going to be it for this episode. We will come back next time with even more of National Park Girls. Until then, the future is very uncertain. What is certain is you guys are awesome, and there'll be more Two Bros Game Night tomorrow. See you then.
Goodbye.